Hey there, Heather Ho there. It's Jeff Cutter Dobbin welcoming you to yet another Stone Cold Hockey video to do about the 1967-68 St. Louis Blues and the fact that I want to lead the Blues to the Stanley Cup Finals just like in real life, when it was an expansion team versus an original six team in the final. All six original six teams in the East and all six expansion teams in the West. As of right now, Toronto is killing at 21-7, a 750 winning percentage. They don't even have a tie. Montreal's second at 37 points. The Rangers, the resilient Rangers, with 36. Boston's got 31. Detroit and Chicago are faltering. Chicago, especially after trading Phil Esposito away for peanuts. Right now, our Blues are at 27 points. Minnesota leads the West. Pittsburgh second at 28. Philly's got 24. LA and Oakland, the two California teams, are in trouble. Goals wise, only Stan Mikita and Bobby Hull have hit the 20 goal mark. Wayne Connolly, Minnesota, is third at 17. Our best guy is not on the list. Assist wise, Bobby Russo of Montreal with 26, Gordie Howe 25, Kitty Worm 19. Our best guy is not in the top 30. Points wise, Stan Mikita leads with 41, Gordie Howe second 35, Bobby Hall 33, and of course our best guy out there. Penalty minutes, Noah Picard and Barclay Plager. I said Barclay, right? Yeah, I said Barclay Plager. Barclay, sorry. Noah Picard and Plager in penalty minutes. Well, I guess we lead something. Goals against Johnny Bauer 9-1. They should be putting him in net more often. Cesar Menango in Minnesota second 147. Gump Worsley, Rogie Vachon, a great double header for Montreal. Glenn Hall 6. Doug Favell 456. How can you have a guy below 500 in have a record like 195? The big thing is Dave Dryden's only won one game, yet he's ahead of four goalies by stuff, including Roy Eberts, who's basically his own man. Standings wise, you see the point. We've played 28 games. Philly's played 27. Points percentage is the same. Well, points percentage. Rangers are one game ahead on Montreal. We have scored 66 goals. That's fourth in the conference, 69 against. So we are minus 3 goals against. Everyone in the West is minus goal differential. Philly's minus 1. We are 7-6-2 at home, 4-6-3 on the road. Philly 1-6-6 on the road. They don't like playing away from the spectrum. Everyone's got 2 losses. Well, Minnesota's only got 2 losses at home. Toronto, Montreal, the Rangers only have 2 losses. On the road, the original 6 teams. Man, Boston's 2-8-1 away from the Garden. As for us, we have Glenn Hall 7-6-3, Seth Martin 4-5-1, Don Kelly 0-1-1. Gary Melnick leads with 16 points. Terry Crisp and Ron Stewart with 14 points. I see our schedule and all that. We have been battling wins and losses. We've had a couple of 3-game losing streaks on the line. Highlights wise, our best win was against Chicago 6-1. Our worst loss was 4-0 against LA. There's been 7 hat tricks, 2 by Stan Mikita, Dick Duff Dick, Tim Ecclestone, our own guy, Eddie Joyal, Mikita's got 3 hat tricks. And funny thing is, one of them was in a loss. But Bobby Hall 7. So Boston, Chicago, when Boston was down 3-0 to Chicago October 18th and won, preventing Chicago from winning a game. Chicago, Oakland, when they won 6-3, 4 goals in the third period, and Toronto, Detroit, when Toronto was down 2-0 to Detroit. Our best game is fourth against LA when we won 4-3 just recently, right? Very recently. So anyway, we are set up for the 17th. We're headed to the Big Apple to face the Rangers. Toronto, Chicago. Toronto crushed Chicago 5-2 as Johnny Bauer beat Dave Dryden. Chicago goals by Doug Moen, says Abe Makita, number 25, the Cheetah. Bob Pulford, Terry Martin, Jim Pappen, Mike Walton, and Murray Oliver with the goals. Montreal, Detroit. Montreal beats Detroit 5-2. Montreal wins. Delvecchio and McGregor with the goals. Montreal goals by Duff, Belleville, LePerrier, Cournoyer, and Belleville. So Montreal wins 5-2. Pittsburgh, Philly, the Battle of Pennsylvania. Philly wins 4-0. Brady Perron with a shutout. Dornhofer, Hannigan, Rochefort, and Gotti with the goals. So we host the Rangers. We're looking pretty good. Jackman versus Glenn Hall. And yeah, So we're in New York. Jackman, Don Simmons, and Gilles Vermeulen are your goalies. So anyway, the Rangers with Jonathan Jean Rattel, Raja Bear, the guy who got victimized by the ice cream container in Guelph, Bob Nevin, former Leaf, Phil Goyette, Vic Hatfield, great left winger, Johnny Marshall, Reggie Fleming, the first NHLer to be suspected of MBCTE in 2009, Orlin Kurtenbach, the first ever captain of the Canucks, Camille Leo Henry, Ron Stewart, former Leaf as well, Jim Nielsen, Harry Howe, the guy with over 1,000 Ranger games in his career. Bernie Boom Boom Jeffrey coming out of a 3-year retirement. Rod Sealing, Kitchener. Larry Jeffrey, that is not how you spell my legal first name. That's E-R-Y, not R-E-Y. Arnie Brown, Wayne Hillman, Larry Mickey, and Ron Atwell. So we lost Atwell and Ron Stewart in a trade. So yeah, that was the Red Berenson trade. That's Berenson, but we lost Ron Stewart, who was pretty good. And Atwell had some points. Hall, Seth Martin, and Don Cayley are our goalies. Red Berenson, the Red Baron, and the wing, Frank St. Marcel, and right. Also there, Jerry Melnick, our point getter right now. Jimmy Roberts, the former Hab, not the Wimbledon broadcaster. Bill McCreary, not the referee. That's his uncle. Gary Sabrin, Larry Keenan, no relation to Mike Keenan. Terry Crisp, the future Stanley Cup winner with the Flyers as a player and Flames as a coach. Don McKenney, the forgotten one in the trade Rangers traded to the Leafs alongside Bafka in 64. Ronnie Schock, the guy who would score in real life the double overtime goal that sent the Blues to the Stanley Cup Finals. Craig Cameron, Tim Ecclestone, Barclay Plager alongside Bob Plager. Dickie Moore, the former Hab and Leaf icon. Wayne Rivers, Fred Huckle, Roger Picard with Noel Picard. Yeah, the guy who tripped up Bobby Orr in 1970. Al Arbor, the defenseman with glasses. Norm Baudouin, and Ray Fortin. Early on, battle, aggression. Tavern for 2. Rangers chance. Hatfield killed the something. 3 minutes later, double hit. 2 minutes later. Chance for Chris? No. Lightning Rod, Chabert, and Kent Rattal is hit. Chabert and Rattal. And we are down by 1 with 2 periods to go. I forgot. Who were the 4 teams in the playoffs? I know Toronto missed the playoffs. I think Chicago missed too. I think it was Boston, New York, Montreal, and Detroit in the playoffs. I think. 6 minutes later. Much later. Simon Marshall. Kent from the Calvin Boom Boom. Deep shit. Chance for Cruz. Oh, stopped by Shackelman. Ouch. He got punked. What after you Roberts for 2. Damn it. And another penalty. Red Berenson. Damn it, Berenson. He knew that it was for Phil Goyette. Top up power play from Gilbert makes 4-0 Rangers. His third assist. We're in trouble. Oh, yeah, they're on the power play. Rattel couldn't do it. We're down 4-0. We're pretty much done as dinner. So we're down 4-0. We're gonna get Cayley in the net. We don't care. We're gonna lose 4. We're gonna lose. Andy Marshall is definitely making Gilbert 5-0. I think this was around the time that the Blues got Scotty Bowman as head coach. I think Jim Nielsen tried to get in on the action. Mighty Rod, Carlos Chapeau, so Gilbert's, I think, got 5 points. Does he have 5 or 6? I can't remember. Yeah, we're dead neat. Hatfield trying to get in on the goal parade. This was an embarrassing loss. Buffalo gets a 5-minute major. We're losing 6-0. I think with the Leafs, I've never had like a 5 lost by more than 5 goals. Kurtenbach versus Sabrin? Oh. This is embarrassing. Very embarrassing. Not only can we not score a goal, we give up 6 in one game. Can't stand it. I just can't stand it. Roger Barrett got 5 points. Marshall's first goal from Rotella and Jeffrion was actually the only goal that Gilbert did not play in part of it. Gilbert with a hat trick and 2 assists, a 5-point night, meaning that, they didn't need it. Well, Stewart and Atwell didn't get a point either, so that's good news. Rotella had a pair of assists, Goyette with a pair of assists and a goal. So, yeah, we took every penalty, 6-0. Yeah, I don't think I've ever had that before. I don't think I've ever seen that before. Let me just check my 64-65 replay and take out my replay. Yeah, we lost 4-0. That was our worst loss. We never lost by more than 5 goals. Embarrassing. Very embarrassing. Oakland, LA. LA wins 4-3. Rutledge beats Hodge. LA goes by Flett, Robinson, Smith, and Cowboy Flett is 13th. Oakland goes by Amon, Hick, and Bobby Bond. So we would be facing Oakland, but the rule of thumb is because we lose, we gotta simulate. Boston beat Chicago 4-1. Chivas beat Desjardins. Chicago scored with Warren, but Krakey with a goal. Bill Esposito only has 12. Orrin Westball with the goals. Toronto, Montreal, the Battle of Canada. Montreal gagne 6-2. Gamble got his by headed in by Montreal. Mahavlich did score his 10th, so did Pulford. Montreal goes by Backstrom, Gilles Tremblay, Cornoyer, Lemaire, Tremblay. Gilles Tremblay. Guess he was underrated. Sure, Rangers gagne 4-3. Jackman beats Everett. Rangers are up 4-0. On goals by Gilbert, the Eel, Marshall, and Nevin. Bergman, McGregor, and Ullman scored. And Gilbert only got 1 point. Goyak got 3 assists. We went to Oakland and an embarrassing 3-3 tie. How the hell did we tie them? Hall and Hodge for the tie. We were up 3-0. Bodan, Malnick, and Berenson. Then we gave up goals to Boyer, Hick, and Ron Harris, who would be in Infamous a month later. But man, can you believe it? We couldn't even beat those lowly Oakland Golden Seals. Pittsburgh, LA. LA gagne 3-1. Sawchuck beat Bass. And Pittsburgh go by Andrea, but Menard, Lowell, McDonald, and Wall with the goals for the Kings. Minnesota Philly saw Philly win 2-1. Perry beat Medigo. Ray Cullen scored by Gauthier and Selby. Brett Selby was 11 for the Flyers. Yes, I know. Go away for a second. So the 23rd, we go to LA. Well, of course, we tied, so we have to simulate. Philly, Chicago tied 1-1 for Val Desjardins. Bobby Hall is 24th. Sutherland hits 9th. St. Louis lost to LA 5-2. KLA was in net, losing the Sawchuck. Kings our goals by Sabourin and McCreary. LA goes by Flett, Irvin. Cowboy Flett with a hat trick. Our second time in 3 games, someone scored a hat trick on us. So we're basically just shit. Oakland, Montreal. Montreal easily wins 4-1. Worsley beats the former Hab Hodge. Oakland got to go by Boyer, but Ted Harris, Ferguson, Backstrom, and Cornway with the goals. Boston Rangers tie 5-5. Jockman and Cheevers. Boston goals Sanderson, Busick, Espo, Shack, and Busick. Eddie Shack is a Bruin. Can't see it. Rangers, Gilbert, Rattel, Gilbert, Ron Stewart, our former guy, and Donnie Marshall. Minnesota and Pittsburgh 2-2. Pittsburgh was up 2-0. Wetzel with the tie against Binkley. Pittsburgh goes by Ubreko and Boylan. Minnesota goes by Andre Bluders. Both of them. Yeah, Wetzel was there, only getting 1 start against Detroit. And I had to beg for it. Toronto won 3-2. Bowery Crozier. Toronto goes by Mike Byers, Pulford, and Ron Ellis. Jared and Robert scoring for Detroit. Christmas Eve, no games. Christmas Day, there were games. We go to Minnesota. Boston beats Oakland 6-3 on Christmas Day. Cheevers beats Smith. Oakland was up 3-0. Brenneman, LeCahan, and Amon with the goals. But Boston scored 6 straight. Or Espo, Busick, Westball, McKenzie, and then Westball. Montreal, Chicago. Chicago shocks the world, winning 5-2 as the Jordy beat Fashion. Cornway and Lemaire scored. But Chicago goes by Schultz, Mullins, Warren, Makita, and Makita. Forgot Bobby Schultz was a Blackhawk. I know he was a Boston guy in the 70s. Toronto, Detroit. Toronto wins 5-2. Bauer beats Crozier. Detroit goes by Gordie Howe and Gary Bergman. But Ellis, Carlton, Walton, Hillman, and then Davey Keelan for good measure. Scoring to make it 5-2. We went to Minnesota, tied them 1-1. We are Dreadful. Hall and Manico. Cyber did score for us to get a point out of it. Rangers Philly. Rangers win 3-1. Simmons beats Faval. Big win for Rangers coming in. Boom Boom. Rattel and Goyette for New York. Selby for Philly. LA Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh wins 3-1. Basson beats Rutledge. Gray scored for LA, but Pittsburgh goes by Day, Boivin, and Fontaine. Mr. Clean, as we call him. 27th. Well, we host LA. Chicago and Boston tied at 4. How are we on the thing? 15 minutes. Okay. Desjardins and Johnston with the points. Boston goes by Russ Lonsberry for Future Flyer. Sanderson, Shack, and then Lonsberry again. 2 goals this day. Chicago goes by Bobby Hall, Moans, Makita, and Hall. Rangers crush Minnesota 5-1. Bowman gets beaten by Jacobin. Wayne Connolly scored his 18th for the Minnesota North Stars. But Fleming, Hatfield, Gilbert, Rattel at quarterback. 5 different Rangers for the goals. Oakland, Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh wins 5-2 as Binkley beats Hodge. Oakland goes by Cahan and Erickson. At McDonald, Day, Bathgate, Ubrico, and Andrea with the goals. Chance to break our winning streak. Oh, we couldn't do it. We tie LA 2-2. Caron and Martin. They had Caron in the net. We were up 2-0. Plager and Crisp, but we botched it. Rolf and Cowboy Flat. We choked. Montreal, Toronto. Toronto gets their butt handed them by Montreal. Worsley beats Bauer. Toronto goes by Walter and Conacher. Montreal goes by Cornway, Ferguson, J.C. Tromba, and Mickey Redmond. Remember him? The 28th, Philly, Detroit. Philly crushes it 4-3 in Detroit. Paramount beat Edwards. Philly goes by Selby, Dornhofer, Lafage, and Johnson. Detroit goes by Prentice, Delvecchio, and Floyd Smith. Minnesota, Montreal, the Battle of the M's. Montreal, Gagne, Trois. Worsley beats Minnesota. Worsley, Manico. Minnesota goes by Colin and Bill Collins. Gilles Tremblay scoring. Claude Provost and Johnny Beliveau. On the 29th, we host Pittsburgh. Finally, we get out the Schneid 5-1. Cayley beats Basson. Pittsburgh go by Ubrico, but our goes by Berenson, Ecclestone, St. Marcel Arbor following scoring a goal, and Larry Keenan. So finally, we get off the Schneid. I wonder how bad our Schneid was. Well, after we beat Philly, we had a 5-game Schneid. It didn't seem that good. So we're going to head to T-Dogs, my former team, Toronto. And this will be the only 2 teams in this thing because of how much our losing streak is. A tie means nothing. 17 minutes. Yeah, this will be our last one. Philly, LA, a 0-0 tie. Yeah, this was the day that LA went into the Great Western Forum they moved from the Long Beach Arena to the Great Western Forum, and CBS had that game. Perron Sawchuk with dueling shutouts. Well, not in real life. Boston beats Minnesota 6-2. Johnston beats Manico. Minnesota goes by Colin and Parker McDonald. Boston goes by Espo, Sanderson, Tommy Williams, Hodge Sr., Espo, and Sanderson. Oakland, Montreal. Oakland gets their butts handed to them as Hodge comes back to Montreal and loses to Worsley. Cornway, Duff, and Trombe scoring for Montreal. Chicago, New York. Rangers win 3-1. Jackman beats Desjardins. Chico Mackey for Chicago. Rangers goals by Hatfield, Marshall, and then Vic Hatfield again. Detroit, Pittsburgh sees Pittsburgh win 3-1. Basson beats Edwards. Pittsburgh used to be a Detroit farm club. Roberts for Detroit. Buckles by Ubrico, Ad McDonald, and Andy Stratton. We head to Toronto. They're unstoppable. Glenn Hall against Bruce Campbell. It was him and Bauer. It was like kind of a dual stuff. You know, the Leafs, the team that I took to the 1965 finals, losing to Montreal. Mike Shaker Walton wasn't there in 65. Ron Ellis was there in 65. He was a good goal scorer that year. Bob Pulford, future Blackhawks GM. Frank, the big M. Mahovlich, he would have his mental breakdown and be traded away later in the 67-68 season. Murray Oliver, former Bruin. George Armstrong, the chief, the captain. Jim Papen, who would do well for the Blackhawks 3 years later. Davey Keon, who won the Conn Smythe Trophy the previous year in real life. Brian Conacher coming in from the minor leagues. Wayne Carlton coming in, I guess, from Boston, I think he was. Pete Stamkowski, the Polish rifle. There's Floyd Smith, Norm Ullman, Paul Henderson, but those 3 guys would be headed to Detroit later in the 67-68 season. So the Leafs don't have those 3 guys yet. Tim Horton, the legend, the defenseman known for his bear claws and bear hugs. Marcel Pronafil still around. Larry Hillman at DA. Doesn't he? I don't know. Play buyers. Alan Stanley still around. Dwayne Rupp. Gary Unger. I thought he wasn't a Leaf. Tom Martin, Jim McKenney, and Mike Pollock. 3 minutes. Nice from Oliver. Remembers me. Yeah, I can score goals against you, Cutter. 5 minutes later. Action. Berenson doesn't get a shot. Much later. Huckle. Carlton? No. You don't. And he gets hit. 2-minute penalty on Picard for the retaliatory. Ouch. Purple goal. The big M. 11 from I forgot about this team, the Leafs. They had not tied. They haven't tied all year. And they're going to get penalty rep for 2 minutes. 33 games without a tie. That's hard to do. Remember, overtime in the regular season didn't exist. And we fuck. And fuck. Kasparowski. Oh, there's a goal. Jerry Melnick, his 10th from McKenney and Rivers. Makes it 2-1. Leafs. 5 minutes later. Leafs stamina increased by 1. Oh dear. We just gave him something. Carlton can't take shot. Later on. Oh, shake. Walton. His 17th Pulford with his 21st assist. And we're down 3-1, so it looks like we're going to be facing an uphill climb. 2 minutes later. No shot. Can't do anything about it. Leafs got a chance. Mahovlich. Nice stop by Hall. The Big M was trying to fuck us over for the second time. No shot by Conacher. Really? Leafs get penalized. Wayne Carlton. We have a chance. Keenan can't take the shot. Chance skiers. Pop power by goal. Of the real Dicky. I have a Dicky, big Dicky. Dicky Moore, his second from Berenson, makes it 3-2. 4 minutes later, an action, and Berenson tried to score. Battle, Gresham, well, Plager will be penalized. And they score. Papa goal. Ronnie Ellis. Lovely. 3 minutes later. Ecclestone, no. So we're basically done for. Only 4-2 in Toronto. We just suck. What is going on with us? We scored a pair of goals, Melnick and Moore, but Keon, Mahovlich, Walter, and Ellis, Toronto saying that, you left us in such a good position, Cutter. Did I? New Year's Eve, we don't play. Oakland and Chicago tied. Detroit crushing Boston 7-2. Andre Gill was in net against Crozier. Boston's goals by Aubrey and Ken Hodge Sr., but Delvecchio, Libet finally scoring. Delvecchio for the hat trick. Floyd Smith for 2 goals. Toronto Rangers sees Toronto win 2-1, a tight one. This Gamble beat Jackman. Toronto goals by Conacher and Ellis. Goyette for the Rangers, the 2 teams that we lost to. The Philly won 6-4 in the rematch. New Year's Day, nothing till the 3rd. LA beats Minnesota 4-3. Toronto, Montreal with the big shutout by Worsley over Gamble. Cornway, Belleville, Terry Harper, Ferguson, and Russo. 5 different halves with goal scoring. Boston Rangers. Boston win 4-1. Big win over the Rangers. As Cheevers beats Jackman. Busick, Craig, and Espel scoring for Boston. Donnie Marshall for the Rangers. Did we beat Oakland? This time we did. 3-2. Hall beat Hodge. Oakland goals by Amen and Billy Harris. Berenson, Sabrin, and McCreary are your goal scorers. January the 4th, Oakland went into Detroit 5-3. Hodge beats Gardner. Well, Gardner was in net. Detroit was up 3-1. Goals by Prentice, Floyd Smith, and Libet. Oakland goals and Hick, Burns, Boyer, Caron, and Cahan. The goals. Boston, Philly tied at 4. And LA and Pittsburgh tied at 4. Friday the 5th, nothing. Saturday the 6th. We're going to be playing LA in our next video. Let's start off. We did win the last game. Chicago beat Detroit 3-2. Rangers went into Montreal and won 2-1. Jackman beat Worsley. Montreal goes by Danny Grant, but Thiel, Henry, and Marshall scoring for the Rangers. Minnesota, Oakland tied at 1. Pittsburgh tied at 4. And Toronto, 2-2. Toronto made it 2-2. Walter and Ellis for Toronto. Sanderson and Stanfield for Boston. But finally, after 36 games, in game 37, Toronto finally tied. So no, sorry, it was a 78 game season, right? It's a 74 game season. So half the 74 games. So half the season. So at the official halfway point of the season, Toronto finally got their first tie. Second least ties, Rangers with 5. No, sorry, the Red Wings have only tied 3 times. So we're still second despite our big boo boos. But there's a dogfight for second to 5th. Oakland's way behind. Chicago and Detroit are behind the 8 ball, to say the least. So yeah. So until next time. Anyway, I'm Jeff Diamond.